This is Warriors Unfiltered, conversations with the team. I'm Lawrence Scott. Joining us today, Warriors assistant coach, Bruce Fraser. So a practice like today when you don't know your opponent, but you're trying to stay sharp for the future rounds, what's important in that kind of practice?
I think, when you don't know who you're going to play, what's important is working on the things that you're going to do. Not necessarily how you're going to counter anything strategic against someone else, but sharpening up what you do well. So we worked on a lot of our offense, some of the stuff we call Princeton, where we're making reads on things, back cuts, slips, screens, split cuts on. There's all sorts of basketball jargon, but we did a lot of that. And then we also scrimmaged just to stay sharp with our wind and just running up and down.
You do these post-practice shooting drills with Steph, and it's become legend, the 77 straight three-pointers. But as you were telling me once, this is more than just that. There's the total number out of the 100.
Well, I think the day he had that 77 in a row was amazing. The interesting thing is we didn't set out to set some record. We just did our normal thing, and we shot 100 that day from 5 spots. So he never was, mentally in a place where he was trying to get to a number. He always tries to get the best out of 100, the most out of 100 he can. So I'd say on a normal day, he's 84, 86, somewhere in there, which is amazing in itself. I mean, he's shooting threes, and he's making 84, 86 out of 100. I mean, that's crazy. So that particular day, he made 77 in a row at one point, but that's probably more amazing, but he also made 94 out of 100. So it was a good day for him.
When you look at the camaraderie on this team, it kind of takes me back to being a college basketball fan and watching the team that you played for and on with Coach Kerr at Arizona under Coach Lute Olson. And camaraderie, how important is it? And really, what are you guys taking from your collective experience together at the U of A and kind of bringing here in this modern realm with this professional team?
Well, I think chemistry is huge with any team, any sport, and we knew that coming in. I mean, that was a key ingredient in our success at Arizona, and we started that from the ground up. Here, we were building on something that was already there, and the chemistry was really good to begin with. But I think, coming in with a new staff and just piecing the front office, sort of making it more of a whole, I think has really helped. And Steve realized that through not just the Arizona experience, but with all his successful teams. He was with the Bulls and had 3 rings there, and with the Spurs. And if you look back at those teams, the common ingredient was not only talent on the floor, but chemistry. And so chemistry is the most important thing for sure. You have to have talent, and we have talent. These guys are incredible players, but I think the underlying theme in it all is chemistry. And Steve and I talked a lot about that coming in before we even started with the guys. We didn't know how it would go, but our hope was that would grow and there would be a lot of camaraderie, on and off the floor, and that we could just nurture that. And so far, I think it's not because of us, it's because of the guys, but it's paid off.
Some of chemistry comes with having great role players, and one of the fun things back at the U of A was the existence of the Gumbies. Please tell me, I've been meaning to ask you about this for the longest time, but the Gumbies, what they were, how it came about, and how a Gumby ended up in your sock.
Well, the Gumbies is kind of a long story, but you can maybe clip this. You can edit this.
No.
But when you come out of high school and you're the star and you get to a big school and you come off the bench, and so I was coming off the bench early in my career and or for most of my career at that point, but early in my career I was coming off the bench, and I told Steve, you warm up and then you sit for an hour. I told him when I got in towards the end of games, I felt like a Gumby. It was that was the adjective I used. I just felt goofy out there. So Steve and I were actually at a convenience store, and on the counter there were these little Gumbies for sale for 99 cents, and I bought a Gumby because I said, that's me. I said, I'm putting that in my sock during games. So Steve was the only one that knew it. So I had it in halfway, hand out, and I actually got fouled during one game going to the basket, and the Gumby came flying out, and the ref kind of ran over and picked it up, and I was like, that's mine. Guys looking at me stuck it in my sock. So the following year we started to really progress as a team, and I became an assistant coach, and we would call the reserves Gumbies based on that, and we would have like scrimmages and call them Gumby Classics, and so Gumby became like an affectionate name for our reserves. And I think the important thing is, even though those guys were great players, similar to here, they understood their roles, and when they came in, they would actually increase leads. So it wasn't a negative connotation to the Gumby thing. And then as we got better and our team, sort of the fame grew, the Gumby sort of whole thing came with that, and so it became a national phenomenon. I mean, it was in Sports Illustrated. This is before the internet. That's how old I am. But it was a pretty special time, and it just shows you how important every single guy on the team is.
All right, much more Warriors Unfiltered coming to you in the weeks ahead. And do check out our Warriors Ground podcast, available in the iTunes Music Store and on the Warriors SoundCloud page. This is Warriors TV.